Hi, you guys. We are going to read Runt today. We are reading chapter 11. When Runt reached the trees, he began to run. "I'm coming," he called to anyone who cared to listen. "I'm coming home." A white-throated sparrow answered with its achingly pure song. Owl hooted from the top of the tall pine. Even a friend of Raven's called down in a friendly way, "Hurry, little pup, you better hurry." And Runt answered each voice with his own high, keening cry. He had no choice. No one was holding him prisoner, and his choice was to go home. His paws danced past ladies' slippers, leapt over wild strawberries, skipped by maidenhair ferns. Those are all types of plants. Home, and his family would be so glad to see him. Had anyone else in his family ever made friends with a dog? Had anyone else actually been touched by a human and lived to tell the tale? Even Biter? Runt loped past a doe chewing her cud. He sent a night-prowling raccoon scurrying for cover. "Humans touched me," he sang, "and I am still here. They touched me, and I did not die." His father would probably be glad to know that he had been wrong. Wolves didn't need to fear humans. Humans brought life, not death. When Runt arrived at home at last, he trotted out of the trees, his face lifted, his voice high. "I'm home," he yipped. "I've come home. Look at me, I'm here." All the pack lay or sat in a tight little group, close by the mouth of the den. Only his mother lifted her head, rose, and started toward him. When she had come half the distance, though, she stopped. "You have been with them," she said, her voice sharp, even accusing. "Yes," Runt cried, "I've been with them." And he did a little dance. "Isn't it wonderful? I've been with them and I survived. They pulled all the quills, porcupine, left in my face, and I am fine now. Can you see?" Helper approached too, but he also stopped some distance away, sniffing the air with clear distaste. The elation that had carried Runt home began to trickle away. Others in the pack moved toward him, but none came close. Only King remained where he was standing, over something Runt couldn't see. "They helped me," Runt repeated more quietly. Without another word, his mother turned away. The pups who had approached him and the 2 yearlings did too. They all followed Silver. "I met a dog," Runt called after them. "Has anybody else here ever met a dog? Her name was—" "Hush!" Runt looked up to see Biter standing over him. "Hush!" the white wolf said again, as though for the first time command hadn't been enough. "No one here appreciates your adventure. They're too busy worrying about Thinker." Thinker? And suddenly Runt remembered. The humans had helped him, but Thinker had been hit too. In all his strange and bewildering adventure, he had forgotten about his brother. Runt approached the group slowly. They were indeed gathered around Thinker. Not only did he have quills in his muzzle and the side of his face as Runt had once had, but one long quill had pierced an eye. Thinker whimpered softly. Something about the pup's low whimper was more pitiful even than his screams had been the day before. Runt leaned over his brother. "Come with me," he whispered. "I know you can get help." Thinker opened his good eye, but then let it flicker closed again. "Thinker," Runt leaned closer. "You've got to—" King stepped up. "Where do you want to take my son?" he demanded to know. Runt glanced up at his father, then quickly lowered his gaze. Now was his chance to tell King everything, all he had learned about the humans. "You've been with them again," Hunter interrupted before Runt could gather his thoughts. "You positively stink of them." Yes, Runt admitted, and before he could explain, before he could tell them that it was the humans who had removed his quills, the circle of his family closed again around his brother, shutting him out. He was with them, one pup murmured to another. He was with the humans, and they all shuddered. Runt stood for a moment motionless, frozen. Then he turned and plodded away. He found Raven by the lake getting a drink of water. Is it such a terrible thing, he asked the glossy bird, to be helped by humans? Raven, the usually talkative raven, only spread his wings and flew away. Runt plunged into the water. He knew washing would do little to remove the stench he had carried back with him. He must stink of dog too, but at least bathing was something to do. He almost wished Raven had scolded him in his usual bossy way, or even his father. Anything would be better than the silence of his family gathered around his wounded brother. I should have stayed, he said, mostly to himself. I should have stayed with Dog and them. Though, when he thought of the chain that held Goldie prisoner, he couldn't help but shudder, just as the others had when they realized where he had been. And that is the end of chapter 11.